Alright everyone, welcome back to B Mother Reviews. Today we have another piece from XM Studios' 1/6 scale DC line. This is of course the fastest man alive, the Flash. And for being one of the core DC characters, one of the founding members of the Justice League, this guy seems to get overlooked, especially when it comes to collectibles. So when XM included him in their first wave of characters for this line, I was pretty excited about it. But is this statue worthy of being the Flash in your collection? We're going to talk about the sculpt and design, the paint, and the production quality on the statue. So let's get in the review and find out. Alright, so as I said, the Flash often gets overlooked when it comes to collectibles, but make no mistake, the Flash is absolutely one of the most important characters in all of comic books. I mean, his revival back in the mid-1950s, Showcase number 4, helped revitalize the industry. It exploded into all these new characters being created, a lot of the characters that we love today, and really helped usher in this new silver age of comics. He is absolutely, as I said, one of the most important characters of all time, but also one of the more confusing characters, I think. There's been several different people to be the Flash over the years. There's, of course, the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick, and then we got Barry Allen here. Wally West has been the Flash, Bart Allen, but as I said, this is the rebirth version of Flash and is, of course, Barry Allen. Now, the Flash, even though he's so important in the history of comics, is often kind of overlooked, kind of undervalued. When you see people have their arguments, who would win, the Justice League or the Avengers? A lot of people say, well, Superman, he can beat the Hulk and he can beat whoever, or Batman with prep time can beat anybody, or vice versa. I'm sitting there thinking, well, okay, all that might be true, but the Justice League wins easy because they got the Flash. For a guy whose base power is just to run fast, his power set is absolutely insane. He is so uber powered. He can run so fast that he can travel through time. He can travel to different dimensions. He can tap into the speed force and basically do almost anything. He can vibrate his molecules so fast he can pass through solid objects. And not only can he move fast at these unfathomable speeds, he's also perceiving and processing the information around him at those speeds. He's also not just the fastest man alive, he's the fastest supercomputer alive, if you think of it that way. He's absolutely insanely powered. So, is this statue worthy of living up to a man with this kind of power? Well, let's start off the review with sculpt and design next. Alright, so sculpt and design for this statue. Now, XM really wanted the bases in this 1/6 line to tell a story and give us a glimpse into the stories for each character. And of course, the Flash, they chose the Cosmic Treadmill. This device helps amplify his speed and is actually what allows him to time travel. So it's a pretty important piece of his storyline. And this design for the treadmill itself is actually pulled basically straight out of the pages of the comic. So they did a really nice job with that. And I really like the back here. You can see it's starting to disintegrate beneath his feet because he's running so fast. You can see parts of the metal being sucked up into this vortex forming around him. So the vortex itself, I kind of imagine it like sort of like a sonic boom, or in the Flash's case, maybe a light boom, if that's even a thing. But it just gives this extra sense of speed for this particular scene. You got the lightning bolts crackling all around him. So it's a nice base. It's very fitting for the character. The Flash himself, I really like his physique. He's got good muscle detail, good proportions and body size. He's not too big, not too skinny, so that's a nice look for the Flash. It is the rebirth Flash, so you do see some of the gold accents, the lightning bolts running through the costume, the black accents on the boots. There's no texture on the suit. It's a smooth look for the Flash, but it's still, I think it looks pretty good. If I could say one minor complaint or nitpick about it, I would say, with all this happening around him, I would like him to look like he's running a little bit faster than he is. I mean, looking from the side here, you can get a sense of speed, but I would like him to be running a little bit more flat out than he is here. You know, on his face, it's a nice face. He's got a tiniest little bit of a smirk there. But Barry Allen, the Flash, is known as a bit of a wisecracker. So I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of a smirk on his face, like he's having a good time with this. But those are two pretty minor issues. Ultimately, I don't think there's really much to complain about with this sculpt, and I think it turned out really, really well. All right, let's talk paint on this statue. We'll start with the base. A lot of a metal, metallic type look to most of the base. You know, you got the silver on the wheels. There's a little bit of gold and copper color inside the wheels there. A little bit of dirt and grime, a little bit of rusted effect on some of the checker plate floor surrounding it. Overall, that looks pretty good. You got the vortex, kind of goes from a white and fades to a dark blue at the outer edges. It's a nice effect. It looks very good. The Flash himself, I really like the red. It's a nice, bright, vibrant red to his costume. The gold trim, very nice, clean lines there. There's nothing slipping out of the lines there. I really like how they did that. Gold on the boots as well looks good. Black lines on the boots done pretty well. So overall, it's a pretty nice paint job. There's really nothing to complain about. There's some subtle shading on his body to help bring out that muscle detail I mentioned last segment. Nice skin tones. The eyes and mouth look well painted. So overall, there's really nothing to complain about. There was the one thing that I wasn't sure I was going to like was the gold lightning bolts. I was thinking to myself, maybe they should have went with a clear resin or something. But you know, now that I have it, I've had time to look at it. The gold matches the costume, and it really gives the impression that this lightning is extending or being created by him as he runs. So I think the gold was probably ultimately the right choice to go with. And as I said, the paint job overall is pretty good. All right, let's talk production quality for this Flash. And first off, there are no switch outs for this piece. This is the statue. This is what you get. I don't even know what you'd have for switch outs, maybe an unmasked portrait or something, but you know, for me, I would have had that out for the review and then put it right back in the box, because this is ultimately all I want in the statue. So no switch outs is not really a big deal for this particular piece. There is an assembly guide in the box. It's got the step-by-step instructions. It's got how to repack it if you need to ever repack it. You're probably going to want to use this for this character. It's a little tricky to put together. There is sort of a certain order that you have to do it with each piece of the vortex and each piece of lightning. Now the lightning bolts are color coded. You can see this one's got red on there, so you find the red on the base and just slot it in. It fits in with a metal peg. But I found that some of the colors were hard to see, some of the colors were a little bit worn off. So I was going more by the pictures in the assembly guide and trying to line up the shape of the bolts and then put them into the right spot that way. So just keep that in mind. You're going to want to have that book handy as you do it. Ultimately, it went together pretty smooth at the end of the day. The one issue I had with this piece was this lightning bolt here under his left forearm. It would not stay in the hole. As I said, they go in with metal pegs, and going underneath like that, a gravity style connection with a metal peg is never the best idea. And this one on mine would not stay in the hole for anything. So what I had to do is I took some Quake Hold putty, some museum putty, you can get it off Amazon, and I just put that in the hole and it stayed in there, no problems since then. So just keep that in mind. You might have to do something like that with yours. I haven't heard too many other people complain about it, so it might be just an issue with my piece or maybe just a few pieces in the production. Overall, the piece though, it's got a nice size to it, it's got a nice weight to it. Other than that one piece, it does go together pretty smooth, very secure. So ultimately, it's a really nice quality piece from XM. Okay, so it's time to wrap up this review. XM Studios Rebirth line. This is, of course, the Flash. And I mentioned it's a character that often gets overlooked, so I'm really glad to see XM give him a little bit of love, and I think they did a fantastic job overall with this piece. Design, the sculpt, gives you this sense of speed. It helps tie in some of the character's storyline with the Cosmic Treadmill. You know, as I said, I would have liked maybe a little bit more of an all-out running pose, but you know, ultimately, you know, it's pretty good, nicely posed figure. Paint-wise, really nothing to complain about on the paint. I think that turned out very well. Production-wise, just that one minor issue for me that is an easy fix. Otherwise, a nice quality production from XM Studios. And you know, ultimately, if you're putting together a 1/6 scale DC collection, I think this Flash is a must-have for you. So there you have it, the Flash from XM Studios. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Stay tuned to my channel, of course. There's going to be more coming throughout the year. So we'll talk to you guys soon.